I'm Rob.
And I'm Nate.
And welcome back to Rob and Nate Record a Podcast. This is week 4 of our
2021 Billy Wilder month.
Yeah. Our second time doing Billy Wilder as a theme month.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And probably we'll do it one more time, I think.
Yeah.
Next year, because there's just so many.
I think after that we have to start returning to Alfred Hitchcock's.
Yeah.
I get complaints about how we haven't done a sufficient number of Hitchcocks. So.
Well, this week our film is a historic film in a trivia sense.
Yeah.
So the comic team of Jack Lemmon and Walter Mattau.
A classic
team.
pairing.
Known for Grumpy Old Men movies, known for The Odd Couple, known for several additional Billy Wilder films. A lot of people think that their first pairing was in The Odd Couple, which came out in 1968, but that is not true, because Billy Wilder paired them together 2 years earlier in 1966 is The Fortune Cookie, a film about brothers-in-law engaged in attempted insurance fraud.
Yeah.
It's a comedy.
And shenanigans.
There's much shenanigans in this film. The first time I saw this, I was looking at my blog, and it must have been before 2005, because I didn't have an before
entry.
Late 2005. Yeah. So I think I probably first saw this sometime between like 2003, 2004 era. This is probably the third or fourth time I've seen it. It still holds up.
Yeah.
Now, you had said as we were starting that you thought you might have possibly seen this. Was that true?
I think I've seen a couple scenes out of it, but I have not seen the whole thing now. So, I think I saw some of the scenes where Willie Gingrich is in his office, played by Walter Mattau. I think I saw a couple of the scenes when he's in the office, talking with the lawyers and things like that. But I had no recollection of Luther Boom Boom Jackson, played by Ron Rich, or Cliff Osmond, who plays Chester Perky. I had no recollection of either of those characters.
So the basic outline of this is Jack Lemmon plays Harry Hinkle. He is a CBS Sports cameraman based in the Cleveland, Ohio area. I guess he'd worked various odd jobs as a cameraman, because he mentions earlier that he had done some commercials that his ex-wife had been in for a linoleum company.
That she was singing the ads for the linoleum company.
Anyway, he is filming a Cleveland Browns home game, and their star player, Luther Boom Boom Jackson. Luther Boom Boom Jackson hits him accidentally during a play and knocks him over a big rolled-up tarp, and he kind of lands on his neck, and he's unconscious, and the ambulance has to come and take him away. Boom Boom Jackson is disturbed by this, and we later learn backstory about how his father had been a heavyweight fighter who had he killed somebody? Or just he'd killed somebody in the ring?
Killed someone in the ring, yeah.
And after he killed that person in the ring, he became an alcoholic, and his career was just over.
Yeah.
And so there's this kind of psychic thing in the background that if he accidentally hurts somebody, he can't deal with it. And so he starts, in subsequent games, being a worse player.
Yeah.
Kind of throwing things, and he wants to spend time.
And he starts drinking.
Yeah, Harry Hinkle, and he wants to help him out, and he starts drinking, and this threatens to basically destroy his life. But Willie Gingrich, Whiplash Willie, the shyster lawyer, brother-in-law of Harry Hinkle, has stumbled upon a piece of information that when he was a child, Harry was playing parachutist with his sister and put a crack in his bone. And those cracks are going to seem, you can't tell how old they are on an x-ray, and it's like, we can play this up. And so he's got this whole scheme where Harry pretends he has these various injuries and pretends these various double vision, and they even inject him in the hospital with some paralysis stuff. So
Lidocaine, so that his arm go and his leg go numb. And
when the doctors from the opposition, from the legal defense fund for the insurance company, decide to test him, and he's playing up this idea, Walter is, that you can get back with your ex-wife, who is played by Judy West, Sandy Hinkle, who had left him for another man, and to try to pursue a music career.
But of course, Sandy is playing an angle of her own.
Yeah. So she thinks she can get some money out of this insurance settlement to try to do an act.
Put together an act, yeah.
and try to get on the circuit. And then Cliff Osmond plays Chester Perky, who is the best private investigator in the business, who's supposed to get the dirt that shows that there's no way that Whiplash Willie's brother's seriously hurt. And his efforts, he bugs their apartment. He has a camera set up in the apartment across the way. I like that set. There's a lot of exterior stuff that was actually done in the Columbus, Ohio area.
Oh, yeah?
But they've got an actual street where they've got these two buildings across from each other, and it just, I'm all but positive that the interior of the apartment was probably done in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And another interesting thing about this film is it's the second Jack Lemmon, Billy Wilder film in which he spends much of his time in his apartment.
Yeah.
And both apartments aren't great apartments, but are on par with my apartment.
I kind of liked this apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little nicer, it's a little nicer than the apartment he has in the apartment. They're about on par.
The one in the apartment's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
You know, and it's actually got, like, the bedroom separate from the living room, stuff like that. So, yeah.
I was going to mention that I wrote Ron Rich's original Wikipedia page.
Did you?
Yeah, back in 2004.
Really?
You know how they'll have those little red links that said this is a guy who should have an entry, but he doesn't have an entry? He didn't have an entry. So I wrote what was the entry, and I checked it today, and I think there's been like an extra sentence added on to it, but it's basically what I wrote 15 years ago.
Seriously?
Yeah. Ron Rich did not have much of a movie career. He's only been about 3 movies. I think he's quite good in this.
Yeah.
But, you know, in a limited range. Judy West, who plays Sandy Hinkle, is fine. I asked you how old you thought she was in the film, and you guessed 29, but she's actually 23 when she filmed this, though she looks older than 23.
A little bit, yeah.
She had a middling career, most of the TV stuff, I think. Cliff Osmond, Chester Perky, he's kind of the standout supporting part in this film. He's a great character actor that Wilder worked with in 3 additional films. He was also in Irma la Douce in 1963, Kiss Me Stupid in 1964, and again in The Front Page in 1974. He's mostly known for his TV work and his Disney work. He was in Return of the Apple Dumpling Gang and The North Avenue Irregulars. He was also a voice in The Mouse and His Child, which, if we do a non-Disney cartoon month, is a strong contender. Further thoughts?
Yeah, this is just a fun film. I guess I'm skipping ahead. I'm trying to think where I'm going to place this, where I'm going to rank this in our Billy Wilder theme month.
Oh.
I guess we should get around to rating the film on its own before we get to that, but it's a solid film. It's fun. Is this the best Wilder film I've seen? No. Is it I guess I could go ahead and say it's not even in the top 5 of the Billy Wilders I've seen. But it's fun. It really is. And it's intended to be nothing more than fun.
It's not intended to be anything that deep.
Yeah.
It did pretty good at the box office. It cost $3.7 million to make. It made $6.8 million.
Yeah.
So that's a healthy return. Critics were...
This was back when Wilder was with United Artists.
With the Marish Company, who was distributed principally through United Artists. Vincent Canby of the New York Times, it was a fine, dark, gag-filled hallucination of the film. Variety found that it was generally amusing, often wildly so, but overlong, which I can see. It feels like this film probably could have chopped 10-15 minutes off of it. And a Hollywood Reporter called it Billy Wilder's best film since The Apartment and his funniest since Some Like It Hot. Now, Jack Lemmon's great. I love Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon's doing the kind of sad sack thing that he did in The Apartment. It's a very similar performance. The standout performance is Walter Mattau as William H. Whiplash Willie Gingrich, the shyster lawyer brother-in-law. I had mentioned to you as we were watching that to watch for when Mattau switches to the big dark coat.
Yeah.
And the reason he starts to wear this dark coat at the end of the film is to make him seem like he has more bulk, because midway through production he had a heart attack. And they had to shut down production for a series of weeks, during which he lost 30 pounds.
That's
so
crazy. For
continuity purposes, they had to do some kind of visual trick, and this was the easiest one to do, to make it look like he hadn't had a massive weight loss.
So he was 46 when he had his heart attack. Evidently, looks like he was born in 1920.
It's a great performance. In fact, Walter Matthau won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for this character.
Really? I hadn't looked that far yet.
He's just such a smarmy guy and just such a conniving guy, but he's also likable in his smarriness. And
Yeah.
he's got that little office in that big building downtown that the larger law firm has like several floors, and he's just got this little office, and he hasn't replaced his secretary since he married the old secretary 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
Which is,
I thought it was pretty
Hinkle's
entertaining when he
sister.
has the three big lawyers
In
come
his
down
little...
to his tiny office.
So he's offering this list of, can I get you X? Can I get you Y? Can I get you coffee? Can I get you sauerkraut juice?
Yeah.
And then he mentions Delaware Punch. So I looked up Delaware Punch. Delaware Punch is kind of a regional soda.
Really?
It's still around. It's named for Delaware County, Ohio, not for the state of Delaware.
Uh-huh.
But it's mostly sold in Texas and Louisiana and in Mexico. But it still exists.
Huh. Can you get that at the novelty store?
Yeah, we should see if we could special order it.
Yeah.
Probably get some off of Amazon.
So I was just glancing. This was nominated for additional Oscars, besides winning for Best Supporting Actor. It also was nominated for Best Writing, Story, and Screenplay written directly for the screen for Wilder.
Wilder and I.A.L. Dynam.
Yep. And then nominated for Best Cinematography, Black and White.
It's a fine-looking film.
Yeah. It was a Oscar nominee for Best Art Direction, Set Decoration, Black and White. And then nominated for a number of other awards. But yeah, it was nominated for 4 Oscars. Which I was slightly surprised by, but I don't know a lot about 1966 films.
Well, they still would had those. I don't know when they phased it out. Probably around this time that they had the color and black and white categories for cinematography. It's a witty film. It's consistently funny. Again, it's not deep. There's some really good lines in it, none of which I could do justice to because it's the pat-a-pat of Walter Matthau that really sells it. I mean, he's got this whole voice and aura to him that is just the ultimate huckster lawyer.
Yeah. One thing we have failed to mention so far is this film takes a very unique format.
Yes.
It has a chapter format.
Mm-hmm.
And the chapters are named, and they play the chapter titles on the screen. I did not get all of the chapter titles written down, but I was going to give you some examples. The Caper, Legal Eagles, The Chinese Lunch, which is when he's getting injected at the hospital, The Snake's Nest, which is when the lawyers talk about, the doctor, the Snake Pit. The one doctor from Switzerland talks about how to find out if a patient's faking, they would drop him in a snake pit. And he said if they climbed out, they were faking. And they said, well, what happens if they die, or if they get bit by the snake? And he says, we lose the patient, but we found an honest man. The Goldfish Bowl, when they start the surveillance. Return of Tinkerbell. The Longest Night. The Other Blonde, which is when the bar fight scene happens. The Indian Givers. The Taste of Money. The Better Mousetrap. And The Final Score.
Yes.
So
the way the film ends is eventually Hinkle he can't deal with it. The fact that he's destroying Boom Boom Jackson's life, and the fact that
his wife's
playing him, and he figures that out, and he knows his brother-in-law is his brother-in-law, and he can't do it. And so he allows the cameraman across the street to see him do all sorts of physical acrobatics in the apartment to prove that he's not really injured. This is after the Cliff Osmond character comes across the street.
He even tells the guy operating the camera what settings to put the camera on.
Yes, he does. So Cliff Osmond comes across the street when they're told to pack it in because the law firm's going to settle. And he race baits. And I'd forgotten this scene. You were a little surprised when he uses no language that is, no N-word or anything like that.
There was the one that was
bad. The one that's kind of bad.
Yeah.
But he race baits him because he knows how much Hinkle's gotten to like Boom Boom, and he punches him. And Cliff Osmond goes to the guy across the street, did you get that? It's like, I don't know, it's kind of dark. And he's like, you want another go? It's like, yeah. And the expressions on Cliff Osmond's face, he's just got a great comedy face.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty good.
And then he runs over
His other real funny one was the lawyers have made the joke about after you shake Willie Gingrich's hand. You need to count your fingers. And he's putting on his gloves, and as he's walking out of the office, and he shakes Willie Gingrich's hand, and he puts his glove up, and one of the fingers is limp. And he's like, "Wait a minute."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this was fun. I'm glad I saw this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we go on to ratings?
Yes. How would you rate this film?
I would rate this film. I'm gonna go 3.
I'm also a 3, and I'm 7 on this
7.
time. Yeah.
7. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is the first time we've been dead even on a Billy Wilder.
On both categories too.
Yeah.
Both scales.
Yeah. So the 4 movies this month
Was Lady of Burlesque, Stalag 13, Spirit of St. Louis, and The Fortune Cookie.
How would you rate the 4?
I would put Stalag 13 number 1, Spirit of St. Louis number 2, and then for the final places they're neck and neck.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna put The Fortune Cookie 3 and Lady of Burlesque 4, but they could have easily switched places. If we had just watched Lady of Burlesque, that might be a little higher.
I think you're dead on. I think you've got the rating exactly right.
Indeed. We're in complete agreement.
Yeah. Which is not
Fairly
the
rare.
most common.
Mm-hmm.
We've been lined up a couple times on our...
Lately, we've been getting more in sync.
Yeah. Which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun. I don't remember for sure all 4 that we did the first time. I was going to say maybe we should rate all 8 in order. But yeah.
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 Yeah, it's been too long.
I think Sunset Boulevard would still be pretty high.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool. Well, anything else to add on this one?
No.
I'm Rob.
It was a fun month.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Nate.
And
I'm interrupting you.
This is Rob and Nate Record a Podcast. How much weight did you say you lost?
30 pounds.
Yeah.
It's Billy Wilder's second film in a row in which his lead actor suffered a heart attack. In his preceding film, Kiss Me Stupid, Peter Sellers' health problems forced Wilder to replace him with Ray Walston.
That's crazy.
That's kind of a shame that Peter Sellers and Billy Wilder never worked together. They seemed like they'd have been a good pairing.
When Cliff Osmond asked Billy Wilder how to play the private detective, Wilder, always a man of few words, where actors were concerned, said, "Innocent pursuit, incessant pursuit, relentless, play Javert." That was funny. On the 3rd day of filming, Billy Wilder gave Walter Mattau a direction with which he disagreed. Instead of arguing, Matthew said, "You speak kind of funny, Billy. Are you from out of town?" But you can imagine Walter Mattau's, Yeah. Wow. Jack Lemmon's wheelchair ballet, You'd Be So Nice to Come Home To, lasts 3 1/4 minutes and was completed in 1 take.
Wow.
That would have been difficult to do.
And Frank Sinatra and Jackie Gleason were both considered for the Whiplash Willie role.
Yeah.
But Walter Mattau was recommended by Jack Lemmon for the part.
It would have been a very different movie if either of those guys...
Both of those guys could do it. I think the Gleason one would probably have been more fun to watch than Sinatra.
Yeah.
But Sinatra would have brought, his quality to it, where you could kind of see how he would be a lawyer that could get away with stuff because Frank Sinatra's a charming guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't think it would have played as well.
Yeah. I mean, this was really a godsend to Mattau. Got the Oscar. I mean, he had a heart attack for it. He deserved the Oscar.
Yeah.
It's like that probably helped put him up in the rankings.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything else on this one. How about you?
I'm good. Cast member that I really want to say anything about.
Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau, Ron Rich, Judy West, and
Cliff Osmond.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really all you need to mention. The obligatory.
Ah, yes. Sound of refreshment.
Let's check the mic level. Something different.
That was something different. It made an interesting waveform.
Yeah. Yeah. Different than tapping it with a pen.
See if you compare that to this. Oh, those look the same.
Yeah. We'll have to see when I spread it out more.
Mm-hmm. What?
We just wasted a bunch of time on a entomological waveform thing that probably will never make the final recording because it'll pop people's ears.
It'll pop people's ears, and because you don't get the benefit of seeing the waveforms.
Yeah. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Delaware Punch?
Delaware Punch.
Let's look and see. This will make riveting audio.
Mm-hmm.
Delaware Punch. There's the search criteria. It does not look like you can get Delaware Punch on Amazon, but has been searched for on Amazon.
Mm. I'm glad that we've embarked on such a productive tangent.
You know me and Amazon.
Yeah.